Friends, as you are aware that we bring in the success stories from the migrant community into the UK. Today I'm with Amjad Malik solicitor. He is a solicitor by profession. He is the member of OPC governed by the government of Punjab, Pakistan, and he is the chairman for the Association of Lawyers. He's the first chairman of the Association of Lawyers in Rochdale. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Ji, welcome. Salam.
It's really honor and pleasure to see you in your office today, and thank you so much for your valuable time with regards to the ongoing issues and the positive contribution of the migrant community into the UK especially. First question is, when did you come to the UK?
I came to UK around about 1994 in August, and since then I've been living in Rochdale. So Rochdale has been my place of residence as well as place of business.
What was your age?
I must be 23.
So you was young enough to understand the life being an immigrant.
Yes, I've gone through ups and downs of an immigrant, which everybody faces in a decade or early days to middle age, and when you made your success. I think I've gone through almost every aspect of that immigrant's life.
Would you like to share some of the barriers those days back in 1994? Because I've been interviewing people from back in 1960s, and just would like to compare a little comparison.
I will say that people made a lot of sacrifices before we came in 1994. They worked for halal food, for the funeral centers, for places, language centers, so that they can gem in the society and get access to services. When we came, we faced a lot of difficulties. We were the newcomers. People had made their life, were successful, and we were the new immigrants.
What were the major barriers those days back in 1994?
As a lawyer, I think at that time our degrees were not regarded as equivalent to LLB here. So we had to do a law again, a sandwich course for a year, and then you could go for LPC and training contract. So that was a big hurdle, which people struggled to get that rectified. At that time, even then, jobs were an issue, especially council jobs. It was very difficult to get into government jobs. There were lesser establishments, like for example, when I came 94, I was working for different law firms. There were, you can count on fingers how many lawyers there were. Now you see a lot of lawyers.
Yeah, no, we can see, every street is filled with the lawyers.
But at that time, I could remember there were 3 or 4 in whole Manchester.
I noticed your name is quite familiar in the northwest, especially in Manchester, Oldham, Rochdale, because of our own community. What are the reasons, or what are the factors behind your firm name, Amjad Malik Solicitors?
I think I've been honest to the cause. I try to provide quality of service. My work is professional, but also there is a kind heart on the side that I
notice you have mostly, family people, like one generation, another generation. They kept yourself as
I will have clients who have been hiring me for over a decade, over 10 years. And it's very rare that you have a lawyer and then you're sticking to him over 10 years.
What makes you to come to the UK?
I think I was fascinated by Jinnah, and I wanted to be a lawyer.
You came as a student?
No, I just came. I joined the week I came. I joined the Huddersfield University for law, but I got married. I came as a spouse, and me and my wife worked together. Then she worked in council, and I studied first, and then went to work for Oldham Citizens Advice Bureau, and then from there on we set up my office. But I think the main part would be to go in law, would be that I would make my way in the legal profession because I was really fascinated by Jinnah.
Do you think that we have enough solicitors or lawyers in our community to serve a population in this country? Are there enough?
There is never enough, but I think good job and good work always make it space. I would say it's not enough. Similarly, that we don't have enough numbers of parliamentarians according to our population in the parliament. Similarly, it's not enough to have many professionals in all disciplines. We have lesser doctors, we have lesser engineers, we have very few journalists working in the mainstream media. Similarly, lawyers, I know people are qualifying quickly, but because you see quite a lot, and then our establishments are getting known, and our community knows a lot of lawyer and lawyer officers, but that doesn't mean we are enough. I think we are not enough, but we can expand in other disciplines like criminal law, still have deficiency. Like Asian lawyers still have deficiency, like family cases, care cases. We haven't got enough number of female lawyers, especially lawyers who can learn in the like Pashto language. There is still a room to advance in those areas.
What was your first job in this country?
My first job was to work for a local cash and carry for a day and a half, to pick and fill shelves, put labels, and fill in the car boots of the customers. But then after 1.5 days, I went to work as a volunteer.
Very short time.
Yeah, I just thought that I have done at that time masters in English literature, had done law, and I just thought I would be better suited to work in a clerical job. So I joined Rochdale Racial Equality Council as a volunteer, worked around 6 to 9 months, and that's where I learned my skills to go for further studies and to work for different jobs.
When did you started the practice as a lawyer?
I qualified in 99, but previously all 5 years I've been working in different practices as a junior clerk, and learned the actually art of cases and how to build clientele, how to meet clients, win their trust.
And what was the year you elected as the chairman of the Law Association in Rochdale?
I was the first president in 107-year history in Rochdale to be its president of the Rochdale Law Association. That was the year before, 2013.
Is it the Asian Law Association or
No,
is it the whole?
It's the English Law, Rochdale Law Association, and it's 107-year-old.
Friends, see the migrants from Pakistan starting their life with many barriers, many difficulties, and they're learning very quickly and adopting the strategies of the Britain and participating as a chair, as a vice chair of the associations, and participating at a very huge level into the British community and society. So, how many years you served the Law Association as a chair?
You are elected for 1 year, and I am very glad that I was the busiest president of the Rochdale Law Association. I think handled more than 3 dozen events in 1 year. I visited Pakistan, met Chief Justice. I invited a very huge delegation for Pakistan for lawyers, so try to bridge the gap so that lawyers meet across the channel.
What were the opportunities for the lawyers coming from Pakistan? Did they come here to learn or to establish a continuous relationship between Pakistani lawyer associations or the UK associations?
I am the chair of the Association of Pakistani Lawyers as well, and it's a big diaspora where we meet the other lawyers of the different community. I think for the interaction between lawyers is twofold. We have a global interaction to work for rule of law in the countries and the world, but also we have a 1 million diaspora Pakistanis living here. They have many problems in Pakistan, and sometimes they can access lawyers for like land confiscation cases, law and order situation, robbery or other. So lawyers get to know what kind of problems the 1 million diaspora face in Pakistan when they tour the country. Similarly, the diaspora can actually interact and tell them what is their experience about lawyers, because lawyers are a tool to get justice from the courts. So I think it's a two-way interaction. They get to know about their future clients. Clients get to know about their future lawyers. And we then talk about globally about Pakistan, rule of law, justice. In justice movement, we work together, hand in glove. Similarly, for democracy, we work together. Now we are working for better governance. We're trying to bridge the gap by like land confiscation. I was the one who was contributing with the government of Punjab to draft the legislation about the Overseas Pakistani Commission, and they took me on the board. I'm the only one from abroad who is on the board as a lay member. So I think these are the things which will come with the dialogue. When we'll meet each other, when we'll discuss with each other, these things will emerge.
I think we have covered almost 10 years of your migrant life. You migrated here in 1994, and then you started your first job in 1999 after 5 years of learning. And
No, I've been working all 5
you've
years.
been continuously
But as a lawyer in
as a
99.
lawyer,
Yeah.
And then you was elected as the chair of the Association of Lawyers in Britain, not just for the Asian community, but for the British community and society as well. How many times you have visited Pakistan in that 10 years?
First 10 years, I used to go every 2 years because I run short of funds and I was studying. I had a son. So every 2 years, we used to go in summer holidays.
So you was married before coming here?
Yeah, I got married in 92. And then after 2000,
Would you like to share about your first flight into the UK?
Yeah, it was Emirates flight, and it had a stopover in Dubai. I went to Dubai for the first time. I think I've sat in Emirates for the first time, though I traveled in Pakistan.
Was it your first flight in your life?
No, I think I traveled to Karachi a couple of times, but international flight was my first one.
What were your feelings?
I think it was a unique experience, longer journey. Many dreams.
And free food as well on board.
I think Emirates, even at that time, had a good standard. So it was a good flight, and it's a unique new experience for me. And I thoroughly enjoyed it and still remember.
What happened on arrival? What was the first entry airport?
At the airport, I think my family was there, and it was good to see. It was new. Everything looked brighter. And cooler, and a lot of greenery. I felt that it was greener, which was a good surprise. But I think when you come as immigrants, you have many hopes, wishes, and a lot of dreams, a lot of aspirations. Sometimes people call you over clever, or sometimes they overestimate you. They think that
I called people here intellectuals and philosophers because they're trying to impose their own thoughts to you, that you must not do this, you must do this.
I think I was at that time, because people didn't know me much, they thought I am a bit over clever for my age and for my talk. But then I had to prove it by work, by practical achievements. That I not only work, but I achieve on my word. So that's, I think, kind of good challenge, that if people think what you're saying, you will not be able to deliver or perform.
What was the airport you landed first time?
Manchester Airport was it. It was a flight from Lahore to Manchester.
Do you have family here before arrival?
I didn't. I've got my wife's family, right. But I didn't have my other close family members. Nobody was here.
No brothers, no sisters, no uncles, no aunties.
No, I didn't have anybody. I just
family. Right. What happened after 2004 and today is 2015? There is 11 years. And many achievements, which I would like you to just give a short and concise summary of.
I think I would say last 10 years have been very blissful 10 years for me. I worked really hard. I was the National Human Rights Lawyer of the 2000 award given by Lord Bingham, the Chief Justice, for winning domestic violence cases in 1 year. So that was a big award for me.
Was it your first achievement?
That was my first achievement, and then I got the National Award of the country for winning free cases, like Pro Bono Solicitor of the Year in 2001 by Law Society. I was given a Role Model Award in 2006 by then High Commissioner here, Malia Lodhi. She considered my work worthy of acknowledgement in the constitutional and public law and people's problems. She thought that I'm doing a role model job for my community. Since then, there have been many smaller achievements, and I believe that due to the prayers of my parents, family and friends, I continuously won many landmark cases, changed many laws. I won a very big Cheetham Hill case of Shoaib Khan, where students were arrested on suspicion.
Oh yes, back in I
yeah.
think 2011 sometime.
2010.
10, 11, yes.
And
Students from...
Times actually regarded me a lawyer of the week because of winning of that case. That was a free case I did.
What happened to those students? They were sent back to Pakistan.
They were considered terrorists without charge, and no charge was brought, and then they were asked to leave, that they are a threat to national security. So we fought in a court and said that if they are a threat, then prove it before a judge. And in Shoaib Khan's case, which I represented, we won, that they failed to prove that he's a terrorist.
Did they compensate those students?
I think the compensation was on offer. They could have claimed all their expenses. But I did the case pro bono. I didn't get any.
Claiming the charges to travel or their food charges.
I did the case free. Didn't charge a penny. But the victory for Shoaib Khan was a big achievement because it cleared his name.
Did they not let them to come back into the UK?
He was allowed to come back, but I think the boy was a very good, I think, Kaplan graduate. So he decided not to pursue his studies from UK. But clearing his name was a big achievement for him.
Yeah, I seen those days our Asian community was involved as well, signing some documents to present.
Even before that, I won a very big case of Maulana Shafiqur Rahman from Oldham. That was a big case of its time, 99, 2000. On that subject, then I did my LLM, the research on national security.
What do you think about the new policies recently introduced by the British government for the migrant community, especially those who married from Pakistan?
I think immigration is an easy tool for top tabloids and politicians to play about. I think the last respective governments in 10 years haven't had a grip on immigration. I think they don't know the numbers people are coming from Europe. They don't know how many people are leaving UK.
They recently given some figures on internet and on their debates.
But still they don't know how many people are stuck in the system.
Yeah.
So I think they should give, number one, visas to people who are stuck in the system for years. Give them working visa and get tax rather than spending millions to deport them. Secondly, 18,600 limit for the spouses is too onerous. It's too much hardship. Even I may not be able to come up to those restrictions. Let alone any fresh graduates. 18,600 should be reduced to around...
Do you think this amount, 18,600, is making a big barrier in family life?
Yes, people are getting married, but they can't bring their spouses. Yeah. So they have children abroad, but their wives cannot come, and people are looking at Europe as the other destination to bring their families. That's too much. That's, I think, cruel.
What would you like to say about the language test?
I think language test, if is not offered to Europeans, it shouldn't be offered to the other people from South Asia.
Allah is a law for all.
But people should be given opportunity. They can come and join their spouse, and within 6 months do the language test. So I think they should be given some concession. Language test, and this fees, discretionary leave extensions, they have increased the fees for £649 per person, and also £600 for NHS charges. This NHS charges is way beyond even the private medical insurance. So imagine a family of 4 will have to fork out around about £2,000 just for the NHS charges. It's onerous. I think they should review it.
I've seen specifically on the student, I will talk about the student life. They introduced a law back in 2-3 years ago during the Olympics time, and they recruited thousands and thousands of students from Pakistan and other countries. And after the Olympic game, they just straight away suspended the licenses of the colleges and terminated their whole system that they no longer recruit students from abroad. And they deported hundreds of thousands of students from the UK to Pakistan and other destinations. What do you think, is that justice with the students?
I think there are 3 things. One, Home Office failed to ensure that the colleges they are giving licenses, that they are properly insured. That's the number one.
Same institution.
If you take a car, you insure it. Yeah. Similarly, the college who is giving admissions to hundreds of students, they should be insured. If the college lose its license, at least the students get their fees back from the insurers.
They never get back this.
They never got the regulatory insurance. That's a failure of Home Office, because that put the students on the jeopardy on the streets all over once. They close the license, they close the college, students go on the street. Number two, I think they gave licenses to so many colleges without even checking. It was like takeaways.
I believe the policy is to conduct an initial visit to.
Yeah, because in the initial days, the colleges were running from the 2 bedrooms from London.
It is.
And I think that was a failure, that they didn't inspect whether the college can issue sponsorship to 100 students, whereas the college has got a head office of 2 rooms.
Yeah.
That's number 2. And number 3, I think we won a very big case of Mushtaq in last month, where the judge was critical that on one side there is this, and then on the other side the visa officer in Pakistan, India and all those countries, poor countries, is asking so many questions which are irrelevant.
Yes.
That they should really, if somebody is going to London for the first time, you check the documents whether they have valid documents or not, rather than whether you've been to London or not.
Yeah.
He is coming for the first time. That's why he chose London.
The lengthy application system is reflecting, they're trying to have much more information about.
So I think this whole student industry, I think the student industry contribute around about 14 billion pound to the economy, and the student industry. And it will be in 2025. It will be 28 billion. So I think they should be lenient with the students. International students come to make their life.
I can say the student is not just bringing the money into this country, they also bring in the skills
and experience and the knowledge and education. So I think the student industry has been hit by the Home Office, I would say that a little bit negligent approach. I think the Home Office should work hand in glove with 3 people: themselves, colleges and the students. They have failed to take into account what students says. They only kept intact with the regulatory regime with the colleges.
What about, there was a scandal a few months back that they don't accept the English language test, TOEIC test, because of few of the centers were not fulfilling their job.
I personally think these kind of things do happen everywhere. I think, but they still have a regime to tackle. But I think they should not have they should not have branded a whole student lot who have TOEIC to be disqualified from the Tier 4. I think they should have brought in a regime where people can actually sit in a fresh test. I think, or they should have gone back to the British Council IELTS or score which is recognized, rather than branding the whole of TOEIC who have been granted previously that they are disqualified from accessing Tier 4 visa or from that visa. I think that was bit unreasonable.
I seen myself, few of my friends who I know very well, they did 2 master degrees from this country and they had a TOEIC English test, but the Home Office did not accept it, and they questioned in the court that, don't you accept your own degrees?
Yeah.
Once you have a master degree,
that's what my point is.
No longer requirement.
That if people have sat in TOEIC 2 years ago, if you brand TOEIC is not acceptable from today onwards, so all the previous one you can't really disqualify them. So that's why the institute shouldn't have been banned. It should have been more clarity.
What about the universities in London? I believe they have closed some of the universities as well.
Yeah, some of the universities, Metro, I think, but the universities also are. They
are not 2 rooms universities.
I think the bigger universities have lesser treatment of the one we are finding, the local colleges. They allow the colleges to flourish, and they quickly started to dismantling it. I think that was a bit too uncalled for. Thank you so much, Mr. Amjad Malik, Solicitors from
Rochdale. He is a practicing solicitor and a very famous man in Asian community as well as in the British society. He was the first Pakistani chair of the Association of Law in Rochdale. Thank you so much for your valuable time. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I believe our people who are following us on the internet and different social apps, they will be benefit from this conversation. We will bring another stories to you next time. Thank you for watching. Good day.